I've just finished talking to a very good source that Disney are very serious about bringing back Firefly. But they've got one stipulation. One absolute must. And without it, it won't happen. Welcome to Tach Pulse Podcast.
Our Tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
So, the source, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, is a proper grade A source. This person actually works for the team that represents this person who is directly involved with this project, and they work for one of the larger talent agencies. The person I've spoken to, not the talent. The talent is an actor. Before I tell you about the stipulation that Disney executives have slapped on this deal, I just want to tell you how we got here. So, about 3 years ago, I first started hearing rumours about how Nathan Fillion was very keen to do this. But apparently it was Universal that had approached him, or maybe given him the opportunity. They wanted to do a series of TV movies, and they owned the movie rights to Firefly after Disney sold it to them, and we got the movie Serenity. Apparently Nathan Fillion had this whole idea of a storyline, and it would have involved him being quite a broken character at the beginning and finding redemption. Now, even though a lot of people will say that, oh god, that story's been done a million times before, I've always thought it was quite a logical storyline considering the events of Serenity. Now, that didn't really move forwards very far. It was something that kept being talked about, but then the strikes happened, and it really seemed to get kicked in the long grass. But then Disney, since the strikes, seem to have woken up, and they're more interested in this project idea. And apparently they are taking it very, very seriously. Now, in the last couple of months, Disney have tried to get rid of the woke label that they gave themselves. And they've been trying to do projects that are a little less agenda driven and a little bit more, a wider appeal, let's put. Things like Alien Earth is a good example of a project that they're desperately trying to get through for Disney Plus that really does have a wider appeal. To do that, though, they have been looking at their Fox IP, the breadth of stuff that Fox basically owned and created that Disney bought for a lot of money. Some of the projects we've already heard about is plans for an X-Files reboot. We are getting a Buffy reboot, and that Sarah Michelle Gellar is signed on. I actually hear, though, that project would not be going forwards if Sarah Michelle hadn't have signed on. Disney would have scrapped it. That project has actually took 3 years to get to this point, and we are very close to a series order. Scripts are done, there's a director, there's producers, and Sarah Michelle Gellar is already talking about it very publicly. Going to be very exciting. I hear it's going to be more based around sort of the comic book story of Willow's daughter, but hey, let's see. At this point, they could really do anything. Disney are also plunging into the Fox archives and bringing us back a Malcolm in the Middle. I think it's going to be like 4 or 5 episode special short series. And we're getting a bunch of animation returns like American Dad, etc. So, Disney are really trying to take advantage of the IP and the archive that they bought for like $18 billion a few years ago and really starting to try to take advantage of it. Firefly is just the next example of that. And it does really seem that 12 months ago, this probably wouldn't have happened. But with the challenges Disney's had in the last few years, let's politely say, it's the sort of project that they think can really kickstart that excitement for Disney Plus that has perhaps waned in the last few years. Marvel bringing back Daredevil really was sort of like the decision point here, that when they brought back Daredevil Reborn, during the strikes they'd already started filming, and I hear it was going to look far more like the Daredevil we got in She-Hulk. She-Hulk was actually going to appear in it, apparently. It was going to be like the gold outfit and everything, and it was going to be that sort of tone, let's say. But they, during the strikes, scrapped it, refilmed 90% of what they'd already filmed, rewrote the scripts, and we got a completely different series than we would have got otherwise. That was really what we can look back to and say that is when Disney decided to change its path, and why now things like a Firefly revival are actually possible. And it might be a series we actually like. Daredevil was excellent. I'm hearing Alien Earth is excellent. Disney might actually be hopefully moving in the right direction again. I'm seeing Thunderbolts at the weekend, and from what I'm hearing and what I've been told by a couple of people, it's the best thing Marvel have done in bloody years. So, fingers crossed. So what is, though, the stipulation that Disney have said this must happen or it won't happen? Nathan Fillion must be involved. That is basically what I'm being told. Now, the plan was always before to have Nathan Fillion come in, do a short series with a couple of other of the legacy characters, maybe throw in a couple of new characters in there that would then grow through the miniseries and go on to do the, basically, Firefly The Next Generation. Now, I'm being told that is still the plan. But Disney have said very clearly to the people that are looking into this at the moment and trying to sort of come up with a plan that without Nathan Fillion, it ain't happening. And that is a problem because Nathan Fillion is quite busy with the Rookie still, even though he is pulling back from that a lot. And he is obviously quite involved in DC and Warner Brothers. His character in Superman is going to be appearing again in the Guardians of the Galaxy series, and there are plans maybe for even more. We are going to be getting a lot of Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. It's a character he adores and fits really well, so I don't mind that. Obviously, Nathan Fillion has appeared in a few of James Gunn's projects in the past. They have a very close friendship, and it's very possible that that could become a bigger thing that would prevent him from then doing Firefly. And it would be a shame, because the way it looks like, Disney is saying, no Nathan, no Firefly. Now, for me, I think that is actually ideal. Firefly is my favourite sci-fi show probably ever taken away from us. You know, you can't say that it's the best sci-fi show in history because, you know, we only got those few episodes. But pound for pound, it is. Now, I'm a Trekkie, I'm a Stargater, and obviously we got a lot more of that. But I think the fact that Firefly was taken away from us so cruelly is what hurts so much. And I think it's possibly one of the reasons why Nathan Fillion feels the same way. I would love to get more Firefly back. But not if it's a remake. Not if it's a reimagining. And no, I'm sorry, not if it's a Next Generation, but with maybe one or two legacy characters just popping in here and there. I think they do need to do this properly. And we need a mini-series, at very least, that can then lead into some sort of Firefly The Next Generation. People won't like it. People will get angry. But people get angry when Star Trek The Next Generation was announced. And look what happened. So, it can work if they do it right. I am hearing they're happy to go ahead without Joss Whedon. I'm hearing they would like to speak to Tim Minear. But as far as I'm aware, they haven't. This is very early days. But it is getting to the point of actually speaking to people through their agents to see if they would. So I can only imagine that if Nathan Fillion hasn't been approached, he will be very shortly. I can't imagine they would even get to this point, though, without at least some communication and trying to sound him out of if he'd be interested. To be honest, I think that'd be the shortest conversation in the world. I think if he can, he will. So let's cross our fingers, toes, and everything else, and hope that Nathan Fillion is up for it, because we could get Firefly back, and that would make me a very, very happy man. I might actually go back to watch Firefly again. I haven't watched it this year yet. I generally do watch it once a year. Yeah, let's do that. But guys, get into the comments and what you think. Is this sensible by Disney? Just in the way they wanted to bring Buffy back, but would only do it with Sarah Michelle Gellar? And actually, apparently, they're kind of trying to get David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson back for their X-Files reboot. Is that the only way to really do it? Or can you get a Star Trek The Next Generation again as long as you leave long enough between the two? Or actually, the way I feel about it is it doesn't really matter how they do it, as long as they do it well. I mean, I think they could really do something that would really annoy fans in theory. But most of us would go, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. If they did a good job with it, they could change our minds. It's not the easy way to do it, but what do you think? Get to the comments. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and the bell notification. It really helps us out, and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see videos up to 24 hours before everybody else. So go check that out. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.